All right, everybody, this is Najee Dorsey again with another installment of BAIA Talks. Recently, there was an article posted in the New York Times Style Edition that posed the question, why have there been no great black art dealers? And, we found that to be quite problematic of a question to ask, considering the number of galleries that were based in New York. June Kelly, Namdi Gallery, S.V. Green, Ken Kelleher, Sinke, and so many others, Dorsey Gallery, to say the least. So we thought we'd reach out to some of our colleagues that have been in the field working. And on the phone, we have Arnika Dawkins of Dawkins. Is it photography or how? Arnika, introduce yourself and let's talk a little bit. How you doing today?
I'm great, Najee. It's Arnika Dawkins Gallery. So, Najee, thank you so much for contacting me. It's a pleasure to speak with you. Arnika Dawkins Gallery specializes in fine art photography. It is something that I've done for the past 6 years, just about, after obtaining my Master's of Digital Photography at the Savannah College of Art and Design. Mm-hmm. I've had great joy and the privilege to show talented artists, photographers, and we just continue to try to shine a light on talented photographers and provide, hopefully, a wider audience for consumers of their work.
Oh, no, absolutely. Photography is definitely a subject matter, or a medium, rather, that we definitely enjoy ourselves. And I've noticed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there seems to be a need to further educate people about photography. Everybody thinks just because I've got a camera, just because I've got a phone, I can take a good photograph and I can, should hang that on the wall. Talk to us a little bit about fine art photography, and the challenges,
Sure.
or maybe even some of the misconceptions as it faces, that you face with working with collectors and people to acquire the material.
Sure. The thing is, I believe, and I don't think many would disagree with me, that photography is a medium of our time. I mean, there's something like 1 billion photographs uploaded every second. And so that's a great question. What distinguishes a fine art photographer or a photographer from the casual person that has an amazing cell phone or iPhone? Mm-hmm. And that, in my view, is what we're interested in, is a conceptual idea behind why someone took that photograph. Why is someone asking me to look at that photograph and consider their idea behind it? And that's the intersection that I find really thrilling and interesting. It's more than just a photograph. I can have conversations about the photograph, whether it's about political issues, historical perspectives, or maybe aesthetically it's amazingly, beautiful. And so all of that makes it very, very interesting. And the notion that I can stand and talk about a photograph or have a conversation or 10, 15 minutes about one picture is what's really, really cool for me and what I do.
Yeah. What has been your experience in terms of the people that are supporting the gallery with purchase? Are they seasoned collectors of photography, or is it just kind of in the mix, or are they just getting started? I mean, talk to us briefly a little bit about that.
Oh, so that's a great question, too, because really when I started the gallery, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to expose people to art by talented artists who generally may not have their work seen by a wider group of folks. And so that's a big mission of the gallery to do just that. But another mission is to expose people to the joys of collecting art or acquiring it, or, I know that could be a tricky word for some. What is a collector? Mm-hmm. But consumers of the work. And so I've decided that I'd love to meet people where they are. So I've had the great privilege of helping folks that are just learning about collecting art or starting a collection, as well as seasoned collectors. And that brings great joy to me to, again, meet people where they are and expose them to art that maybe they haven't seen before or haven't considered. I've also had a wonderful opportunity to show work by masters like Gordon Parks, and people readily know, his work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, exposing his work to people that may be new to collecting art or may not have known about him. And so that opportunity is just, great and wonderful.
Right. Well, I mean, the topic at hand that when we reached out and really wanted to talk about for sure to kind of dive into is this New York Times piece. I mean, how did that sit with you, and what were your thoughts on the article itself?
Najee, I remember reading some response to it. I kind of have the view that we're all in this thing together, and provided that we have an opportunity to shine a light on talented artists, that's what I want to do to a wider audience, be it a black audience, a white audience, people that love art or people that, may just be trying to figure out this whole art thing. And so the article I thought was interesting. I personally learned a few things in reading it, and acknowledging the folks that have come before from a historical perspective in the art dealer world is really wonderful, because those people are pioneers and, have kind of provided an opportunity for galleries like mine to even exist. And so I thought that was great. In the idea that there's some galleries that may specialize in African American artists, I think to get the work out there in institutions, museums, and the hands of collectors, I think that's what I'm interested to do, and how it works in this ecosystem, doing things like you're doing with Black Art in America, exposing others to it. I think all of it comes together to, have folks appreciate the hard work and the great talent of African American artists.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, I mean, if the article was, in and of itself, just the content that was in the article, I really wouldn't have had a problem with it. My problem really came with the title. Why have there been no great black art dealers? And actually, let me pause it for hold on 1 second, Arnika, please. Okay, so where were we again?
You were talking about the title of the article.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So why have there been no great black art dealers? I mean, how does it? I mean, I know, I gather from our conversation that, again, you're catering to people who just love art in general. You work with a number of different artists. I definitely understand that. So, whether or not you want the label of a black dealer, I mean, that's a totally different conversation. But I mean, does that not? I mean, how does that? I mean, I don't know. That really bothered me.
I understand, Najee. I understand, and I think the silver lining is the conversations that we can have, are having, that it caught a lot of attention. I remember hearing about some media training. I hate to say it, if it leads, it bleeds.
Right. Arnika. Hello?
Hello?
They can take us to the moon, but they can't keep these calls together.
Right here at the same date. I was just leaving you a voicemail because it seems like we are having technical difficulties, and it's a lot of interference. I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine now. There were a few pockets that you were kind of going in and out a little bit, but I think we'll be able to salvage it. I mean, I've got a really good team that edits really well. So
awesome. But you were talking about Dorsey. Najee.
Huh?
There's this crunching sound on the line.
Okay, I can hear you fine, and I don't hear the crunching sound.
I'm missing some of your words, but okay. So you were asking about the title
Yes.
of the article, and I think, when you have pejoratives like that, why are there no? It does raise an eyebrow, and I wonder if the writer's intent was to get attention in some media strategies. If it leads, it bleeds. And I think it's interesting the conversations that have been had and that we are having.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a healthy thing, and that may be the silver lining of it all.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I guess the last thing, I mean, that was a thought that kind of came to mind, and we'll just kind of leave it at that as it relates to the article. Any parting thoughts about, collecting or photography or anything new and exciting going on with the gallery that we definitely need to be aware of?
Oh, thank you so much for that question, that support. I mean, you champion what we are doing in the fine art world, and the collaborative ideas that you have, I think, are fantastic, and we need more of that. The gallery has an exhibition that I've had an opportunity to extend, called "We Have Made These Lands What They Are." It's going to be on through Atlanta Celebrates Photography, which is a wonderful festival to participate in.
Mm-hmm.
Work by Kara Salmon, who is a producer by trade, and I get to show her personal work, which she happens to be an African-American woman married to a descendant of the largest tobacco plantation at the time in Tennessee. And that interesting intersection, she has documented and taken photographs of varying plantations in 6 or 7 states around the South, and has found research and data and intersperse those to make an alternative reality. So that's an exciting exhibition that's coming up. I say to collectors or people that are interested in acquiring work, the first thing I think is imperative is to buy what you love. Learn that artist, enjoy what they have to say, try to understand them, and just go on a wonderful journey of living with the art, because I believe it enriches our lives, whether it's in our home or in our office or whatever the environment is. And supporting talented artists just helps them, for the long term. It helps their legacy. It helps with them hopefully get their work in museums where people will preserve it for the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, and in parting, please feel free to give us your website and the address of the gallery, and we want to invite everybody, definitely, when you get to Atlanta, or if you want to make a special trip, day trip, or weekend, or whatever have you, and take in the art and culture of a community. Atlanta would be a great spot, as well as many others around the country, but definitely put Arnika Dawkins Gallery on your to-do. It's a phenomenal space. It's always welcoming. And if you would, just give us your address and website where people can find more.
Thank you so much, Dorsey. It's Najee. Thank you so much, Najee. It is 4600 Cascade Road in Atlanta. The website is adawkinsgallery.com. And I just really want to thank you again for involving me in this conversation. I think it's critical that we continue them.
Absolutely. Arnika, thank you so much for joining us on another installment of BAIA Talks. I wish you well in your current exhibition and all your future endeavors. Thanks again.
Thank you, and best wishes for your exhibition. It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This is Najee Dorsey. You listen to another installment of BAIA Talks. Be sure to follow Black Art in America at blackartinamerica.com and look for us on your favorite social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. And remember, you can always shop for art online at www.buyblackart.com.